Welcome to the CJ Unedited podcast. Sorry that we're late. We had some technical difficulties, but we are here. I am James Hampton, and as always, I am joined by Chrissy McNamara. Chrissy, how are you?
Apparently, I don't know how to technology. Apparently, that's a verb. I'm just old. I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. I know how to technology.
You know how to technology better. You youngin', you little man.
I don't understand why always on our personal interest pieces this season we've had issues with
the personal interest pieces, the StreamYard gods just don't want to smile upon us. Alas, we're here.
Well, guys, we are here for I just realized I have a bunch of trash on my desk. All right. We are here for another personal interest piece. Chrissy, how have you been? I feel like we haven't seen each other in a long time, but even though, it's only been a week.
It was a week, but mostly we were watching Dusty, so it doesn't feel like that long, I guess. It feels like longer. Exactly. I am okay. It is the end of the school year, so it's been a little much. We're getting down into like the 20s as terms of like numbers of full days of school in one of the most difficult school years in the educational climate of this country. So we out here just living and just trying to make it to the end.
This is the most difficult school year in the history of teaching. I thought that was 2020 or 2021.
No, I liked online. I was chilling. I was chilling that year. Yeah, but not for everybody. That was not, even though I don't know how to technology, I was good with the Zooms. But we don't, a lot of people don't like talking about that year, but this year coming back, the learning loss, it's been rough, but we're making it. I think my first year was harder, but in terms of like recent years, definitely the hardest.
Well, my week's been really good. I know you didn't ask, but I'm going to say it's been good.
I said, how are you?
Oh, you did?
He's sassing me, y'all.
Guys, it started with her not knowing how to technology and it started pissing me off. I was like, you don't know how to, you can't do this? Oh, come on. Give me help.
I don't know if it's me or my computer. I think it might be the computer.
But Chrissy, most importantly, what are you drinking tonight?
We got ice water, baby.
Oh, you're drinking ice water.
We boring tonight.
I am drinking
oh my god, are you watering too?
It's peach green tea lemonade in this nice rainbow glass from Starbucks.
Is the glass from Starbucks?
Yeah. You see it?
Yeah, I feel like my friend. Oh, okay, definitely. I've seen that. Oh, one of the girls I work with, Bear With, has that cup. Bear With has a cup like that.
Yeah, I like it. But guys, this is the personal interest piece week. We have some interesting topics to talk about. Chrissy is going to talk about her trip to New York City. I'm going to talk about Judy Garland. And then we are showcasing my friend Joey's song on our podcast. I'm super excited about that. But Chrissy, why don't we just kick it off with you, since it's going to be a very long night. Right. And I have to say, I'm so sorry that a lot of these pictures are very tiny.
That's my computer's fault, or I don't know. It's somebody's fault. I guess it's my fault. I don't know.
And to make them not pixelated, I mean, it's not going to help.
Well, I'll kind of just go through the day. So for my personal interest piece this month, I wanted to talk a little bit about, over the past several months this year, I've gone to New York for like various things. And I am definitely looking forward to going to New York this summer again. And most of the time that I've gone there,
keep talking. I just don't have to figure things out.
I'll just kind of go through, and then when I want to do a picture, I'll be like, "Cue picture one." The most of the times that I've gone there, it's been for some like reality TV thing, or like a hangout with people from the Twitter minigame community, or like a friend type thing. This time I actually went for some interesting experiences that were varying in degrees of like emotional. I went with my mom and my dad, which is kind of cool. I'm a middle child and I rarely get to spend time with my parents, like just them. So my gift to my mom for Christmas, because she's been asking to go, was they were tickets to the 9/11 Museum and Memorial in New York City. And I got 3. So she also brought along my dad. We had originally intended on bringing my sister, but that fell through. So we also brought along my dad, who this trip was very special for him, especially because he did have a friend that perished in the 9/11 attacks on that day, way so long ago. And he has had like a little bit of a hard time, like, looking back on it. And he was able to do it in a very nice way and go into the museum. And after we went to the museum, we had lunch at Margaritaville, which was cool.
Margaritaville.
That's the only second time I've ever been to Margaritaville. Gonna be in New York City.
Oh, they have the best. Oh, they have the best like seafood pasta.
Seafood
and margaritas.
pasta?
Yeah.
I did get a margarita because I just had to. I was like, I'm in Margaritaville. I have to have margarita.
But you have to have a margarita in Margaritaville.
I was like, come on, Mom. Like they didn't want to get too tired for the next thing that we did, which was, I know a while back you had a personal interest piece on Broadway. So my gift to her for Christmas was the 9/11 Memorial Museum, and then one of her gifts to me was my first Broadway show ever. It only took 37 years, and we saw Aladdin, which was awesome.
I have never seen
it was really good. Like, I guess there were some certain things in Broadway that I knew they were going to exist. Like, I knew the magic carpet was going to fly, but like I knew it, but I didn't really like know it till I saw it. The genie like literally coming out from under the stage, the poofing, it was all really cool. There was a lot of diversity in the cast.
There's a musical they do, like, okay, so they did the flying carpet in Aladdin. There's a musical they do called Miss Saigon. And you have?
Yeah.
Okay, they land an actual helicopter on the stage. Like a legit huge helicopter flies in and lands on the stage. Yeah, every show.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so the theater is amazing in the way of how they can do certain tricks, like the magic carpet flying, or and Frozen with Elsa's glove flowing off, and like ice. Yeah, it's magical how they can do it in theater, and it's incredible. So I kind of want to see Aladdin. I will whenever it comes.
Yeah, it was good. Like we needed to find something kind of like last minute because she said this is what we're gonna do, but she didn't like fully plan it out, and we actually weren't. I planned like it. I just didn't realize what the day was. That it was the day before Easter, and we tried to reschedule it. But this museum books like 6, 7, 8 months in advance, like for these tours. And I like tours. I'm very like touristy. I like people to tell me exactly like the historical significance of everything. So I'll just talk a little bit about the museum, but I won't give too many details of what the different exhibits and collections are like in the museum, because people may want to go.
I've been to the 9/11 Memorial Museum.
Oh really?
Yeah, I've been. So I actually went to New York, and I know my mom's watching. So if you're able to comment, Mom, comment. I went when they were still cleaning up the rubble from the towers, and they was still smoldering when I went. And you couldn't even like take the train any further, like the subway any further, because you had to get off at Ground Zero because there was nowhere else to, like, the train couldn't go because of the towers being down. So I had to have gone in like
Wait, there was a whole museum back then?
No.
Oh, okay.
You literally got off the train and you had to walk around the rubble. Like I remember going when it was still smoldering and they were still picking up pieces from so I've seen it now, from being down to it being the way it is in the pictures that you have and the videos that you have, and the pictures and the videos that they have of the things now.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So we arrived at like 10 a.m. We had a tour guide with a very, very heavy New York accent. He was wonderful.
I'm walking here.
Definitely was. Yes, he was definitely Italian. He reminded me of like somebody from The Sopranos from like the New York side of things. And he definitely, like, you could tell this was his passion. I love that stuff about tours and tour guides. So the memorial essentially is a tribute of remembrance and honoring the approximately 2,977 people killed in the terror attacks of September 11th, and at the other sites as well. So at the World Trade Center, which is like where the towers were, and also near a town, which I didn't know that much about this. I should have.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, a town near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where one of the other planes crashed, and at the Pentagon, as well as the 6 people killed in the World Trade Center bombing, which was a while before that in February of 1993. So on the outside of the area, they have 2 reflecting pools, which reminded me a lot of they reminded me a lot of some of the monuments I saw in Washington, D.C. back when I taught, and that was like our field trip. So there was like the World War II monument. It looked kind of like that, but as far as like the reflecting and the water pool goes down, it's really cool because you can't like fully see all the way down it. I'll just share like a picture from the website real quick.
So
I don't think I have a good picture of that.
You probably know, and I feel like I'm intruding on your thing, but for those who don't know, and I do know,
can you see that?
The reflecting pool, the ponds, the pools themselves, you probably know this, Chrissy, but they sit where the actual towers sat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, so he told us, like this tower was here, this tower was over there, and now they replaced that. And the way that they have, let me stop sharing, the way they have the names like identified on there has to do with like which buildings they worked in. And he told us a lot about some of the relationships between some of the people that were on like the same flight or worked in the same tower. A lot of there were a lot of sad stories. Like I don't want to give too much away, but one woman, for example, I don't know all the details, but apparently she was about to take her maternity leave starting like the next week or something. So that was a really sad one. And as far as some highlights of things we saw, obviously the reflecting pools are beautiful and just the whole grounds are very, very clean and very, very well kept. In fact, my mom and I rolled up and we had some Dunkin' Donuts and we're walking around trying to, throw out our cups when we were done. And we just we were waiting in line to get into the tour. So we knew we had a spot. We had some time to kill. And we could not find a trash can anywhere. So we went and asked somebody and we said, hey, can we throw these out? And they were like, you have to wait till you get inside because we don't have any trash cans on the outside for security reasons, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah, very, very smart. So they've taken it very seriously to keep it growing and keep it clean and keep it well preserved. And there is, I think it might be one of the pictures. You want to pull up the picture?
I don't want to pull up the picture to be wrong.
He's like, no, that's not it.
Okay, I'm trying to click on the StreamYard screen to change it, and it's not working. I'm not actually on.
Hey, we ended up with St. Patrick's already. Bam. That's okay. There is a tree. Okay, maybe
I don't have it. But this one?
Oh yeah, there is a tree. And it is called I had to look up the name. The pear tree. Became known as the survivor tree after and during the September 11th terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center. So apparently there was 433, if I remember correctly, trees that were planted on the grounds when the whole thing was kept. And one of these trees that you see here in the picture is an actual tree that survived the wreck of 9/11, which I thought was really interesting. They were able to rescue it and take it to some type of tree place that's like a hospital for botany or whatever they do and nurse it back to health, just like they would a sick or dying person in critical condition that they were able to save. So I thought that was really interesting. As far as the things inside, one of the highlights I found was definitely that one there, the remains wall. That's my dad right in front of that.
Is that your dad right there?
My dad, yeah. So it says, no day shall erase the memory of you from time. This one is apparently where they have all the remains that they found. Sadly, they were not able to find that many remains of the people that perished in these attacks, but those that they did find, in an effort to preserve their memory and kind of just provide any type of consolation for their families, they keep them all behind these walls, and not all of them are necessarily able to be identified, but a lot of people come here and write little notes and say prayers, and there's always like a guard there that can give you some information. Now, there was one place that I wasn't allowed to take photos, but I'm sure if you look on like the website, they have a picture with all the people whose names are on the memorial. They have a picture of each of those people in a room. And my dad was able to find his friend. We really, really had to like strain our necks because he was really, really high up. And then he showed me another person he recognized who was a hockey player who was Kahlua, who was on Kahlua, who was on a flight, sadly, one of the flights going to like a hockey function.
Oh yeah.
So this was an interesting experience because I'm like, I used to teach history, but I still like don't know a ton about like more recent history. I consider this more recent history. So it was very educational, which I like, but it was also like kind of emotional to see. If you want to go back to where like the black words are.
Oh yeah, give me 1 second. Hold on.
Sure.
Cause I'm looking for something. Hold on. Okay. Sorry. Where?
Actually, you know what? Yeah, go to like the top of the pictures and I'll just explain it. Yeah, go to like the first picture and I'll just explain each picture. It might be easier that way. Actually, start on the second one.
Oh, well, pick one. That one.
All right. So starting with this one, this was the beginning of the room where I said that all of the pictures were in that like we couldn't take pictures in.
Yeah.
And this was like a walkway entrance tunnel, and it had sounds of people that were from like news clips and from like real life people that identified what was going on like right in front of them. So people that were outside either that day or the next day. We heard like real conversations that was like echoing in the walls and stuff and on the TVs. And that part was really interesting. And you can go to the next one.
This one right here?
Yeah, we'll talk about that one. After Broadway, we went to St. Patrick's Cathedral. For those of you that are Catholic or Christian and have an interest in it, it's the probably one of the most beautiful churches I've seen in this country. And it was Easter Vigil, so it was popping. There were all kinds of people in there. I thought about doing a confession, but the line was like super long, and I never would have gotten through it. Oh, that was one. That was one picture of Sacred Heart of Jesus. I have a ton more, but that's the only one I threw in here. That was a picture at the site.
That's the new World Trade. That's One World Trade.
Yep. The new preserved building.
Oh, there's your dad.
That's the big wall on the other side of where the remains are. With the what's that?
I said, "There's your dad."
There's my dad looking at the wall. Okay, this I think was my favorite part on the whole museum. This was a staircase that they actually preserved from the wreck. So like legit from I can't remember which building it was in, but one of the two buildings.
Yeah. And
this staircase saved so many lives because it was one of the only parts of the building that was not impacted immediately. So wow. Yeah, there were a certain 100 number of people that were able to escape from the stairway, and they said they owed their lives to this stairway being open and unaffected for so long, and they asked if it could be preserved and kept somewhere, and they were able to remove for the most part. I mean, it's like got some wear and tear, but they were able to remove it, and it's part of the museum. I think that was my favorite part. Moving on to the next experience.
This is just the way they are. I opened them up. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Because I had them in a different. I don't know how to technology, guys. So here's me outside the New Amsterdam Theater, getting ready to see Aladdin. I was so excited. Yeah, there were a lot of kids there, but that's cool. There's the pear tree that survived. There's the remains wall. Okay, this building is called the Oculus. I thought this was a really interesting looking building. I don't know why, but it reminded me of like heaven or something. I don't know. You just look up and it's like all white.
I think it's really cool is that it's actually a mall.
Yes. So it connects to the subway, and it's actually a mall. And I think there might be a hotel, or like the next building over is a hotel. I thought it was a cool name and a cool building.
So, Chrissy, I saw this photo.
You got an Oculus story?
Do you want to know something? You just took us all. This photo can take us all the way back to episode 3 of our show. you want to know how?
It's a crazy news report. Something happened in the Oculus?
Nope. I have it pulled up. That's why I said.
Is that what you said you were looking for?
Yes. I have it pulled up because it takes us all the way back to episode 3. Just pay attention to where they're at.
Oh my God, it's the Cregan's thing.
Just wait.
Oculus! Is that
That's the Oculus?
That's definitely the Oculus?
That's the Oculus.
That's crazy.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I was like, hold on.
The fact that you figured that out.
What?
The fact that you recognize that from way back.
Well, I've also been in there and I've seen the giant American flag hanging. So like I knew as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, Chrissy just took us back to the beginning.
Yes.
It's the subtle things. That was all the pictures, by the way.
Yeah, so I kind of just wanted to go over that day. And before I turn it over to you, I highly recommend both places, Broadway and the 9/11 Museum. And before I turn it over to you, I did promise you guys that I would update you on
But wait.
the way to move. I have it.
The screen.
I'm gonna put it on first. All right, so here we have. That's why I wanted to put it on first before I came in the frame.
I enjoyed that.
I'm dead. That's gonna have to be reel that back at the end of the season, unlike the highlights. Okay. Connected. I should have prepared this. Maybe I should.
You really should have prepared this. You should have just been wearing it the whole time.
All right. So we did get the weighted hula hoop. We have been doing it every couple days. I'm getting better at it. It does take
I'm ready
some practice.
Yeah. Yeah. Get it, girl. Get it. Woo! All right. If you want a weighted hula hoop, they are online. You can buy one right now, and then Chrissy will teach a session.
They are. They were on sale for like $40 on Amazon for like. They still were on Easter. I don't know if they still are.
All right. Like I said, if you guys,
ladies, highly recommend it. Trim those.
Purchase a weighted hula hoop. Chrissy will do a live YouTube stream where she will show you how to do it.
That's gonna be the next. I don't know.
For $5.99. For $5.99 per.
Crazy news story.
Well, that was really interesting. I'm sorry I cut you off a couple of times on there, but I really loved going to that museum and that.
Yeah, I definitely didn't send you all. I'm looking at the message now, but I sent you some good ones. The stairwell was like the biggest one I wanted to show, so I'm glad that made it.
I think what's really cool is, and something I don't know if you mentioned it, but the names on the plaques, like on the memorial, are engraved, so you can actually you can actually see straight through the name. I don't know. Did he tell you about this?
Wait, he didn't tell us about the engravement.
Okay, so on the memorial, there's all the names, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, each name is actually see-through. Like you can actually it goes all the way through the metal, and the reason is for that is because families will come up and they'll take water from the memorial and they'll put it over the name, and it's supposed to be like them shedding their tears for their loved ones.
Oh,
yeah.
And they always do like celebrations of their birthdays and stuff too, which I think is cute.
I think I went there to the museum, and you guys had a really cool tour guide. We had a lady who was telling us about how her husband was supposed to be in the World Trade Center, and he was walking up to the World Trade Center, but he realized that he forgot his keys to his office. So he had to turn around to start walking. He turned around to go back to his car. When he was walking back to his car is when the plane hit the tower.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Talk about
well, this is sad. My mom said it was such a sad experience.
That just got heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, going to the museum.
No, seeing the rubble when it was down.
That's what I'm thinking, because you guys saw it like right up, like
it was still smoldering and stuff. Yeah.
Remember? Did you go like that same year?
It had to be in 2002 or 2000. It had to be in 2002.
Okay,
so something like that. It will smolder for a while.
But it took a while. Yeah, it took a long time.
Should we switch from something sad to something interesting?
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I went first now, because I was like,
so I'm not really going to talk about Judy Garland. I am, but I'm not in a weird way. Okay. Here we are. We're transferring to a different topic. Let me bring up all the pictures. All right. So I gotta make sure I have. I gotta pull up all my stuff. So give me 1 second. I was gonna use my iPad, but
But while you're doing that, I'll just tell everybody too. It was cool. It was definitely a good emotional, educational experience to go to 9/11. But this week, for the next 3 days at my school that I work at in Newcastle, Delaware, we have the Wall That Heals. It's a replica of the Vietnam War memorial wall that they like apparently put on trucks, and it like travels around the country. And this teacher on my staff, I don't really know her that well, but she teaches math. She wanted like her father to be honored, and she was able to you have to like wait a long time to reserve it, and this was like her year to get it. So It's been in our school for like 3 days, like next to like the tennis courts, and you can just go over and like there's like tour guides that can help you and stuff. My students asked to go, but I was like, y'all are too insane. I was like, maybe tomorrow. Let's see how tomorrow goes.
I will say, like, there is a musical called "Come From Away," and it talks about 9/11 in like a town in Canada called Newfoundland, and they were the only there were like a lot of planes landed during 9/11, and Gander, Newfoundland, is the only place outside of the United States to share a piece of the steel from the World Trade Center from when it happened.
Really? Wow.
Yep. All right, let's stop talking about sad, because I don't want to talk about that. All right.
Judy Garland.
So you guys know Judy Garland probably as Esther Smith from Meet Me in St. Louis, or as Esther Blodgett or Vicky Lester in A Star Is Born, the original Star Is Born, or she is known for being the mom of Liza Minnelli.
Oh yeah.
But she is most famously known for being Miss Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz.
She's so cute.
But what did you guys know? So Judy Garland is actually widely considered a gay icon. The Advocate has called Garland the Elvis of homosexuals. The reasons frequently given for her standing as an icon among gay men are the admiration of her ability as a performer, the way her personal struggles seem to mirror those of gay men in America during the height of her fame, and her value as a camp figure. Garland's role as Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz is particularly known for contributing to this status. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay? So what's kind of interesting is gay men have always been in Judy Garland's life, Judy Garland's father and other significant people were gay. Her father, Frank Gum, would apparently seduce or at least keep company with very young men or older teens, and then move on when told to leave or before his activities could be discovered. Garland's second husband, Vincent Minnelli, the dad of Liza Minnelli, was rumored to be a closeted bisexual. And her fourth husband, Mark Huron, had a long-lasting relationship with fellow actor Henry Brandon, which was only briefly interrupted by his marriage to Judy Garland. She actually introduced her daughter, Liza, to Liza's future husband, Australian singer Peter Allen, who is also gay. So gay men have always played a part in her life.
So she was bearded when she got married.
So from the beginning of her Hollywood career, Garland liked to visit gay bars with openly gay friends like Roger Eddins, Charles Walters, and George Cukor, to the jargon of MGM. Like, they didn't like that. But I said earlier, Dorothy Gale played a huge impact on Judy Garland's life. In a gay slang, a friend of Dorothy is a gay man and more broadly any LGBTQ person. Stating that or asking if someone was a friend of Dorothy was a way for discussing sexual orientation without actually, saying it or in trying to avoid the hostility. The precise origin of the term is unknown, but some believe that it is derived from the book The Road to Oz, a sequel to the first novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, which is what the movie's based on. The book introduces readers to Polychrome, who, upon meeting Dorothy's traveling companions, the Scarecrow, the Lion, and the Tin Man, exclaims, "You have some queer friends, Dorothy." And she replies, "The queerness doesn't matter as long as they're friends." There are also numerous references to LGBTQ characters and relationships, including a possible innuendo about bisexuality in The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy asks Scarecrow which way to go on the Yellow Brick Road, and he says, some people like to go this way, some people like to go this way. Of course, some people go both ways. Although, whether this was intentional or not, the world doesn't know because Frank Obama is no longer alive. More commonly, though, it is stated that the friend of Dorothy refers to the 1939 film The Wizard of Oz, because Judy Garland, who starred as the main character Dorothy, is a gay icon. In the film, Dorothy is accepting of those who are different. For example, the gentle lion gave the line, "I'm afraid there's no denying, I'm just a dandelion."
Oh my! Wow.
The Wizard of Oz has a particular resonance in the culture of the queer community, because the struggles faced by Dorothy, Toto, and friends, especially against the Wicked Witch of the West and her flying monkeys, metaphorically mirrored the difficulties of coming out. Because of, being able to be who you are, but there's someone standing in your way. It's how the group of outcasts work together likewise mirrors the LGBTQ community, because they create new chosen families. And those four became a new chosen family.
Oh my, I never thought of any of this.
Researchers also note that there is an absence of a heteronormative male-female romance in the show, in the movie. And Dorothy and her friends do not need to change themselves to become who they want to be. Because one's looking for a brain, one's looking for a heart, and one's looking for courage, but they always had it. They just were never able to show it. Many see Garland's portrayal as a queer journey, an escape from the puritanical, normally rigid black and white small town life to the technicolor city existence with fabulous friends. Additionally relevant is the classic song "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" that Dorothy Garland sings, which was possibly the most memorable performance of Garland's career, and the song contributed to the evolution of the rainbow flag as a gay icon.
Oh my gosh.
The song acted as a cultural catalyst, propelling the eventual embrace of the rainbow symbol by the world's LGBTQ communities. Garland's death on June 22nd, 1969, and funeral held in New York City happened days before the Stonewall riots that sparked the modern LGBTQ rights movement. Now, Chrissy, you asked me earlier what my shirt said. The shirt says the first Pride was a riot. And that is talking about the Stonewall riots, in which many, although reports of the riots were spontaneous, they were not related to her passing, but a lot of people attributed that to Judy, and that was a way that they knew that was a way they knew that each other were LGBT, is by saying, "Are you a friend of Dorothy?"
No.
Time magazine would summarize decades later, the uprising was inspired by a potential cocktail of pent-up rage. Raids of gay bars were brutal and routine, overwrought emotions, because hours earlier, thousands had wept at the funeral of Judy Garland, and drugs. As a 17-year-old cross-dresser was being led into the paddy wagon and got a shove from a cop, she fought back. She hit the cop and was so stoned she didn't know that she was doing, or she didn't care. Garland's other daughter, Lorna Loft, points to the connection with Pride, saying that her mother was a huge advocate of human rights and that Judy Garland would have found the rioting appropriate. Starting in the late 1980s, on several cruise lines, gay and lesbian passengers began approaching ship staff, asking them to publicize gatherings and daily cruise activities. As the cruise lines were hesitant to announce things so blatantly in the daily publications, they would list gatherings as a meeting of the Friends of Dorothy. The use of this phrase likely comes from the cruise directors, who were also familiar with and using the Friends of Bill W. I don't remember who Bill W is. Hold on, let me see.
This is like interesting, and it checks out. Like,
so Bill W was Bill W. It was a program to tell members of Alcoholics Anonymous that there were support group meetings on their trip. So it would be meetings of Bill W. saying like, "Hey, there's a meeting of Bill W. if you're an alcoholic, if you want to come." Such meetings have expanded in popularity and frequency over the years, and now many cruise lines will have multiple Friends of Dorothy events, sometimes as many as one each night. Despite this, though, many of those Friends of Dorothy meetings have low turnout rates. In the 1960s, a reporter asked how she felt about having a large gay following. This is the end of it. And she replied, "I couldn't care less. They are my fans, and I sing to people." But to this day, the term Friend of Dorothy is still being said around the world, and the rainbow flag continues to wave on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you like know all of this, or did you like find it?
I knew the majority about it.
I didn't heard he was married to like a beard, but I just thought that was like a rumor.
What?
I heard somewhere along the lines that like one of her husbands might have been gay, but that's like it's so much more beyond that. She
is also really known as a camp figure, which means pretty much just so. In discussing Judy Garland's camp appeal, gay film scholar Richard Dyer has defined camp as a characteristically gay way of handling the values, images, and products of dominant culture through irony, exaggeration, trivialization, theoreticalization, and an ambivalent making fun of and out loud of the serious and respectables. Garland is camp, he asserts, because she is imitable. Her appearance and gestures couple and drag acts. He calls her ordinariness, in her early MGM films camp, and their failed seriousness in her later style wonderfully over the top. She's a huge like name. There's a lot of people who still like when you go to places, they'll be like, "Hey, are you a friend of Dorothy?" And they'll ask that like just as a way of being like, "Hey, like, are you a friend?" So in the film, Dorothy immediately accepts those who are different, like I said, including the Calorie Lion in a very camp performance by Bert Lahr. The lion identifies himself through a song as a sissy and exhibits stereotypically gay or at least effeminate mannerisms. And the lion is seen as a coded example of Garland meeting and accepting a gay man without consent. In a 2001 documentary, Memories of Oz, gay cult film director and social satirist John Waters spoke about seeing The Wonderful Wizard of Oz as a child, and he says, "I was the only child in the audience that always wondered why Dorothy ever wanted to go back to Kansas. Why would she want to go back to Kansas in this dreary black and white farm with an aunt who dressed badly and seemed to be mean, when she could live with the magic shoes, winged monkeys, and gay lions? I never understood it." So there's actually a movie about her life, and it's called Judy. And it's very interesting to watch because it's about her life and like her upbringing, and it stars Renee Zellweger as Judy Garland. And Renee Zellweger, I think, actually won the award for Best Actress for portraying Judy Garland in that movie. So interesting. That's awesome. Interesting fun facts.
Is the movie on Netflix? Is it like easy to find?
It is on Amazon Prime Video.
Okay. I can probably get that through one of my emails.
So
Cool.
very, very interesting. I've always heard the term, but I never really knew that much about it until I started researching about it. So, but yeah.
And some of the like symbolism in the movie is interesting too.
Yeah. But the way you actually think about it deep down is like how they don't need to change themselves to be who they are. Like the Scarecrow wanted to have a brain, but he always had one. And if you really think about like the way like they're talking about it, like he knows things about like people go this way, people go that way, but people like to go both ways. And it's really weird just to think about it. Now, that's a whole like that's like taking a movie and like theorizing it, but for the LGBT community, it's a movie where they can watch it and be like, this isn't a technicolor landscape where she was in color. Like that was a huge thing. And like, that's the whole thing about LGBT is they're overly flamboyant and they're out there and they're live. But the rainbow flag thing I thought was kind of cool though, because it was a song. Yeah.
That was my godfather's favorite song. He used to love that song.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
Yeah.
I love that song. Let's see. Hold on. Can we let's do it. Let's do it. It's a musical night tonight. Apparently, let's just see if I can.
Kahlua will sing along, as you may have heard.
I wonder if it's actually out there. Way up high, there's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Why is it not popping up? You would think this song exists. Like, so actually what's really funny is if you actually think about if you listen, have you seen A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga?
Yeah, I love that movie.
So when she's taking out the trash, she is actually singing. She's whistling "Somewhere Over the Rainbow." And that's a subtle callback to Judy Garland, who played the original character in "Somewhere Over the Rainbow." Is this it?
That I heard of. This makes you calm.
Okay.
Everyone's like that.
It makes me cry.
It's so like calming.
But yeah, it's very 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 nice. I love the fact that it takes a little bit of history and a little bit about Judy Garland and the fact that like she knew that like there was an interview she did and she was saying let me see if I can find this interview because she said I don't know if I can find it again because when I was reading it I thought it was okay. This is about how Judy Garland felt about her fans. At the very end of the interview, she said, "Oh crap! I lost it." Okay, so although Judy rarely addressed her gay audience as her gay audience, she did seem to come to their defense from time to time. In a 1965 press conference in San Francisco, she was asked how she thought about her gay following, and she told those gathered, "I couldn't care less. I sing to people." Several years later, another interview asked about the abundance of homosexual fans, and she explained that she was always been treated brutally by the press, and said, "I'll be damned if I'll have my audience mistreated." What is most telling in regards to Judy's kindness and love for others is the way she spoke on the topic of religion. It was 1946. She was light years ahead of many of her generation. She said, "I believe the real expression of your religious beliefs is shown in the daily pattern of your life, and what you contribute to your surroundings and what you take away without infringing on the rights of other people. I don't disapprove of people who make a habit of focusing all their thoughts on religious ideas unless they let religion become an opiate with them and do harmful things to other people. No one should feel that because he goes to church every Sunday, he can do cruel things which people are not ordinarily supposed to do, and that God will overlook his bad behavior.
Period.
So, yeah. So that is Judy Garland. That is my take on Judy Garland. And next up is going to be Burt Reynolds. I don't know. No, but yeah. So that was Judy Garland.
Gay icon.
Just piece.
The now, gay icon. We love it.
An OG icon. Now, I wanted to take on. So I wanted to. One of my friends. I am like really happy to know him. He released a new song, and I messaged him and I said, "I love this song. Can I share it on our podcast?" And he said, "Absolutely." He said, "Do whatever you need to do. Just share my music. Do what you want to do." So tonight, this is Joey Ray. Joey Ray moved to Nashville in 2017 from his hometown of Bowling Green, Missouri. See, I told you. To further his career in music. Music has always been a passion for Joey. He was always loved singing with his family and began playing guitar with his grandpa at age 12. He has many influences, including Keith Whitley, Travis Tritt, Brooks and Dunn, Tim McGraw, and new artists such as Hardy, Morgan Wallen, and Riley Green. His lyrics are drawn from personal experiences of growing up in a small town and, of course, relationships and the heartbreak that can follow. He strives to write music that means something to him, is relatable to others, and makes the listener feel something. His debut EP, released in September of 2018, which has 6 original songs, including his popular single Catch and Release, which has gotten some radio attention in his home state of Missouri. He has since released multiple singles, including Chase and Smoke and Ain't On Me, and he's currently working on a full-length studio album that will be released in fall of 2022. He has performed with acts such as Mark Chestnut, Riley Green, Craig Morgan, Cadillac 3, the Swan Brothers, and more. He looks forward to the tests and trials that lay ahead on the road of chasing his dream. Proverbs 16:9 says, "A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his footsteps." So, we are going to have a little sample of his music. And by a little sample, I mean the whole gosh dang song.
Let's go, Joey.
So, let's take a listen.
If Chevy trucks weren't made to keep running, if jukeboxes weren't made to keep singing, honky-tonk and drinking songs that play all night long, maybe then I would've changed, maybe then you would've stayed. Never closed, then I wouldn't have to go home alone. No last call, no goodbyes. I could live here in this neon house of lies. Bartender, keep them coming, yeah. They're 90 proof, cause he knows I'm hiding from the bitter truth. But the ice is melting in my cup like an hourglass, and it's already so tonight I'm just wishing the bars never closed. If guys like me didn't have too much pride, if grass didn't look greener from the other side, if whiskey didn't taste better with every drink, maybe then Feeling one door closes and no one opens up. But this bar's closed and there's just like you closed the door on us. But if bars never closed, then I wouldn't have to go home alone. No last call, no goodbyes. I can live here in this neon house of lies. Bartender, keep 'em coming, yeah. That 90 proof, 'cause he knows I'm out in front of the bitter truth. But the ice is melting in my cup like an hourglass. And it's already 11:11. I wish to bring you back. So tonight I'm just wishing the bars never closed.
Woo!
If bars never close.
So guys, that
Beautiful.
was what?
Beautiful. It was pretty catchy. I'm not a big like country person, but that was catchy. It was like
So that is Joey Ray. You guys can find him on Apple Music, Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, or go to his website at joeyraymusic.com. What's funny is I've known him.
good job, Joey.
What?
So good job, Joey.
He actually follows the podcast.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. What's funny is that I've known him for almost 4 years, and I have not actually ever met him in person.
Oh, really? Oh.
So he's actually one of my he's one of the friends of my friend Dylan, and they sing together. So that's how we met. So eventually, every time I've had tickets to a show, something's happened. Car has gone down, snowstorm has come in, so I've never actually got to go see him, which is kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, we're friends. And he said that he might come on and perform a song on our show sometime soon. So
Nice.
I hope to start getting live music at the end of every month. That'd be kind of cool.
And closing out tonight is Joey Ray.
Closing tonight is Joey Ray.
Kevin Falk singing karaoke. No.
Closing out tonight is Snoop Dogg.
Yes.
If Snoop Dogg closed out our show, I would cry. But guys, that is our personal interest piece. Next week, it is back once again. Crazy
Yes.
reports. We'll see what happens. Guys, coming up, we have found our competitors for our Friends Night. It is a whole episode dedicated to the television show Friends, and it's going to be a trivia night to see how knows the most about Friends. They say that they are avid fans, but do they know the minor details? We'll find out. That will be coming up, as well as our
I went to a friend's escape room last week.
our unedited movie review, which would be over Surf's Up and Mean Girls. 4 opinions, 2 movies, 1 night. That's still the wrong date, ladies and gentlemen. It's supposed to say May 12th.
Okay.
Although again, what's really upsetting is I was really hoping to do this unedited movie review live.
We have your concert.
Unfortunately, the concert I was supposed to go to that Chrissy got me tickets for was supposed to be on May 7th. It got postponed to May 12th. So I will be at that concert while that video is opening up, and I will be talking to Restless Road. So thank you, Chrissy, for that.
Yay. Video.
But we only got 4 more episodes left until we take our hiatus for a while.
Oh my God, really?
Only 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
That seemed fast.
I know.
When were we back? Beginning of February. Yeah.
We were back at the beginning of February. We've only done 10 episodes, which is weird.
Doesn't feel like.
But we're taking on hiatus for a little bit, but we are coming back in June or in July. And I just want to say this. I will say this, and Chrissy can attest. The show when we come back is going to surprise y'all. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And I can also tell you guys this. There will be 2 weeks of crazy news reports back to back.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. The best part.
Exciting. So that's the most
Please
popular
save footage of me dropping the infinity hoop.
What?
Please save the footage of me dropping the infinity hoop on the ground for the season recap at the end of the season.
The season recap in November?
Nope. Just remember that for like 8 months from now. Period.
Now I'm going to play that every single day. I'm just going to come back. Chrissy, let's run through our social real quick. Chrissy, go ahead.
If you're not following me yet, what the hell? CRosMac at CRosMac_4, Kalua _pup410.
At Jay Hinton. I almost accidentally shared Kevin Fox.
You can follow Kevin Fox too.
Yeah, give him that. I didn't share it. Guys, follow the podcast. If you have not done so already, how dare you? How have you been watching the show without following the podcast? Wow, loyal fans. Also, speaking of loyal fans, if you guys ordered merch, it is in the process of being done, and that will be out to you guys soon. Yeah.
Merch.
As always, follow the link tree, save the link tree to your phone. That's the quickest way to get to next week's episode and every episode after that. Chrissy, is there anything else you want to say? Oh, guys, don't forget, subscribe.
Subscribe to the channel. It'll come right up on your YouTube too if you do that.
Yep. Anything else you want to say?
Let's go team. Educators across the country, y'all got this. Hang in there. We learned a lot about Judy Garland today. Stay safe. Oh, wait, that's your line. Go ahead.
No, you can say it. Go ahead.
Wait, I think it's...
Do you know the exit?
Are you ready to end? Wait, I think it's stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and remember to live your life 100% unedited. Bye, besties.
Bye.